Someone is talking about you and the way you dress up. And my beloved child, there is a whisper moving through the air. Soft, trembling, but powerful enough to shape destinies. Someone, yes, someone you would never expect has been talking about you, about the way you dress up, and about the impact you leave without even realizing it. And listen carefully. They are not saying what you think they're saying. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. But before you even blink, pay attention, because the story that is unfolding around you is no ordinary moment. It's a once-in-a-lifetime revelation that has been building slowly, secretly behind closed doors. And tonight, for the very first time, you're about to hear the truth that was never meant to reach your ears. A truth so surprising that if you miss even 1 second, your heart will not forgive your mind. Amen. Blessing 222. A different beginning emerges now. Somebody has been observing you quietly, silently, like a shadow, learning the rhythm of your presence. They have watched the way you hold your bag, the way you fix your collar, the way you walk into rooms without announcing your arrival, but still manage to change the entire atmosphere. They said, "This person doesn't even know." They don't realize how their dressing carries a story, a confidence, a mystery. And the person listening asked, "Is it admiration or something deeper?" The answer shocked them so much that their breath caught halfway. Amen. Blessing 333, because the truth is this, the way you dress is not just clothing. It's a signal, a silent signature of who you are becoming. And someone extremely important has been decoding that signal. They saw confidence where others saw simplicity. They saw elegance where others saw routine. And now they are trying to understand one thing. How did you become unforgettable? Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 444. Another doorway opens. Earlier today, they compared you to someone with an extraordinary destiny. They whispered, "Have you seen the way they dress? It's not about fashion. It's their aura." Their voice was trembling, not from fear, but from realization. Because the moment they described you, invisible energy shifted in the room. Someone else looked up and said, "I don't think they know it yet, but their life is about to change." The way they carry themselves is giving signs of elevation, signs of a breakthrough that can't be hidden anymore. Yes, my beloved child, you heard that correctly. Your style, your presence has been read like a prophecy. And the person who spoke those words about you is no ordinary person. Their influence, their power, their reach, it can pull you into a future far bigger than anything you've expected. But what they said next, that is what will change everything. Amen. Blessing 555. Because they leaned in and whispered. The way they dress, even on days they feel unnoticed, it reveals something about their future. Something they themselves haven't discovered yet. Something huge is waiting for you. And in the next part, the revelation they tried to hide, the real reason they've been talking about you will be exposed. Amen. Blessing 777. A fresh doorway opens. My beloved child, before you take your next breath, understand this. The conversation about you has not stopped. In fact, it has reached a point where even the people who weren't supposed to hear your name are now whispering it. Someone said, the way they dress up, it's not just style, it's a message life is sending us. And when those words fell into the room, every single person listening felt a shiver run down their spine. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. But pause, because this part carries a power every viewer must witness. If you've reached here, you're not watching by accident. This is the moment where destinies align. This is the moment where your presence on this video is not coincidence, it's calling. And my beloved child, I want you to write in the comments right now, I'm ready for my revelation. Amen. Your words become a signal. Your energy becomes a magnet. And your future starts paying attention. Amen. Blessing 222. A new voice rises. The person who was talking about you earlier didn't stop at compliments. No. What they said next shocked even the one listening. They said, I don't think this person understands how powerful their appearance is. Even when they think they're dressing simply, something inside them refuses to be ordinary. Suddenly, someone across the room responded, are you saying they're chosen? The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. Then came the reply, slow, deliberate, certain. Yes, their dressing is revealing their destiny before they speak it. My beloved child, imagine this. People analyzing your presence while you're completely unaware. People noticing your inner glow before you even see it yourself. And when they compared you to someone who has a breakthrough written in their fate, the person listening to them felt a shock because deep down they knew it was true. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 333. And right now I want every viewer watching to comment. My blessing is coming. Amen. This isn't engagement. This is declaration. This is alignment. This is the moment you step into the story being written about you. Amen. Blessing. 444, a different energy breaks in. Someone close to the conversation tried to change the topic, but the person speaking about you refused. They said, no, you don't understand. This is important. Clears throat, the way they dress shows control, shows discipline, shows unspoken ambition. Their outfits reveal a story that hasn't even fully begun yet. And then came the statement that froze everyone. Their style is transforming because their life is about to transform. My beloved child, this isn't a compliment. It's a prophecy being spoken about you by someone who sees more than just appearances. Someone who understands energy. Someone who knows that a shift this big does not happen without signs. And your style, your choices, your presence have become the biggest sign of all before this part ends. If you're ready for the truth, they're hiding in the next part. Right. I'm ready for my elevation. Amen. Something huge is waiting for you. And the next revelation will shake your expectations. Amen. Blessing 555. A deeper truth begins to rise. My beloved child, the whispers about you have now turned into conversations that carry weight. Conversations that change the air in the room the moment your name is mentioned. Someone said today, have you noticed how their dressing has evolved? It's not random. It's alignment. It's preparation. And when those words left their lips, everyone listening felt something shift because they knew this wasn't about fashion anymore. This was about destiny unfolding in real time. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111, but the part they didn't want you to know. The speaker wasn't just talking casually about you. They were defending you, protecting your image, correcting misunderstandings before they could even form. Someone tried to downplay you, tried to question your intentions, tried to say, maybe they don't even think about the way they dress. Maybe it's coincidence. And immediately the person who has been quietly observing you replied with firmness, no, nothing about them is coincidence. Their voice held certainty. Their eyes held respect, and everyone around realized someone is watching you with deeper understanding than you ever imagined. Amen. Blessing 222. Another layer of the secret unfolds. My beloved child, when this person spoke about your appearance, they revealed something no one expected. Their dressing is becoming a reflection of the world they are entering, not the world they are leaving behind. You may not realize it, but your style has been shifting because your spirit has already stepped into a higher level. Your choices, even on days you felt lost, were guided. Your outfits, even when chosen in a hurry, were aligning with a future that's pulling you forward. Someone tried to ask, but how do you know their future? And the one observing you for months whispered, because their energy has changed. Their aura has changed. Their way of showing up has changed. Clothes reveal what the soul is preparing for. My beloved child, imagine people sitting in a room trying to interpret your future just from the way you walk, stand, move, or adjust your sleeves. Imagine someone so tuned into you that they can sense your breakthrough before you can see it. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 333. A doorway to revelation cracks open. The conversation didn't end with compliments. It evolved into revelation. One person leaned closer and said, "Do you think they dress like this because they know something big is coming into their life?" And the observer, the one who truly sees you, responded softly, "They don't know it yet, but their soul knows. Their instincts know their style is preparing them for a stage they haven't stepped on but will." My beloved child, these words were not spoken lightly. They were spoken with awe, with shock, with the realization that you are becoming someone you never thought you could become. And then came the line that made the entire room fall silent. Mark my words, the way they dress now is only the beginning, their transformation is about to be witnessed by everyone. Amen. Blessing 444. Something huge is waiting for you. And in the next part, the identity of the person talking about you will begin to reveal itself. Prepare yourself. Your heart is not ready for what comes next. Amen. Blessing 555. A new surge of truth breaks the silence. My beloved child, the conversation about you has reached a point where even the ones who stayed quiet for months can no longer hide their reactions. Today, Someone walked into a room and said with a stunned expression, "You won't believe what I realized about them. The way they dress is not an accident. It's a sign." The room froze. The air went still. Everyone leaned forward. And in that moment, it became clear. Your presence has started shaping the environment, even when you're nowhere near it. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. But before this truth unfolds any further, I want every viewer who's still here, who's chosen to stay till this part, to drop a powerful comment. I am aligned with my destiny. Amen. Your words activate your path. Your engagement becomes energy. And my beloved child, if this video has reached you today, it's because the revelation is meant for you, not for everyone else. Amen. Blessing 222. A different revelation emerges. The person who has been secretly observing your style finally said what everyone else was afraid to say. Their dressing is not just fashion, it's evolution. Someone replied shocked, "What do you mean by evolution?" And the answer came with a calm certainty. They're stepping into a new phase of life. Their clothing is the first sign of the transformation preparing itself around them. My beloved child, understand this clearly. When your soul begins elevating, your choices change before your mind even realizes it. Your walk alters, your tone shifts, and yes, your dressing begins speaking a language the world can hear even if you cannot. And right now, for those watching who feel this in their heart, write in the comments below. My transformation has already begun. Amen. This is not just engagement. This is alignment. Amen. Blessing 333. But the real shock came next. Someone questioned the observer. Why are you talking about them so intensely? And the observer, who knows you far more deeply, replied quietly, because they are about to outgrow everything that ever tried to make them feel small. The room fell silent. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 444. A hidden truth finally rises to the surface. The talk about your dressing shifted from admiration to prophecy. Someone said, "Look at their style closely. They're not dressing for where they are. They're dressing for where they are going." Everyone stared. Everyone listened because this wasn't flattery. This was revelation. And then the question that sparked the biggest shock of all. Are you saying they're chosen for something special? The observer nodded slowly with a seriousness that made every heartbeat louder. Yes, they look like someone whose future is unlocking. Their dressing carries the vibration of someone entering a higher dimension of life. My beloved child, the person speaking about you is not a stranger. They are someone whose words hold weight. Someone whose eyes see beyond the surface. Someone whose intuition about you has never been wrong. Before this part ends, if you feel this message speaking directly to your soul, comment. My elevation is unstoppable. Amen. Amen. Blessing 555, something huge is waiting for you. And in the next part, the identity of the one talking about you will begin to reveal itself slowly, shockingly, powerfully. Amen. Blessing 777. A hidden voice finally steps closer. My beloved child, the moment you've been sensing is finally arriving. The whispers about you are no longer floating in the background. They are sharpening, becoming clearer, forming a shape, a face. Today, when they spoke about the way you dress, the tone was different. It wasn't analysis anymore, it wasn't curiosity. It was recognition. Someone said their dressing reveals a confidence they don't even realize they carry. They're preparing for something big without knowing it. And the room fell into a silence that carried weight because everyone knew people don't talk like this unless something extraordinary is unfolding. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. But what shook the room wasn't the words. It was the emotion behind them. The person talking about you didn't speak like a stranger. They spoke like someone who has been watching you grow, someone who has studied your presence, someone who understands your shifts even before you do. Another voice tried to brush it off lightly, but the observer stopped them and said, "No, look closely. Their style is telling a story their life hasn't caught up to yet." My beloved child, do you realize the depth of that? Your clothing, your choices, your quiet evolution have become evidence of the breakthrough preparing itself for you. The observer wasn't guessing. They were certain. And today, for the first time, the others began to see what they have been seeing for months. Amen. Blessing 222. Another layer of revelation pulls back. My beloved child, someone in the room grew curious and finally dared to ask the question everyone else was too afraid to voice. Why do you talk about them like that? Why does their dressing matter so much to you? The observer paused, exhaled, and then revealed a truth that shook even the strongest people present, because they remind me of someone who is about to rise. Someone whose life is changing silently. Someone who doesn't dress for attention. They dress with destiny. The moment they said this, eyes widened. Breath stopped, and the atmosphere shifted. Because this wasn't admiration. This wasn't attraction. This wasn't simple noticing. This was someone speaking from certainty. Certainty that your identity is unfolding. Certainty that your path is rising. Certainty that your appearance is the reflection of a future your spirit has already stepped into. Someone else whispered, stunned. So, you think they're becoming someone important? The observer didn't even hesitate. Becoming, they replied softly. They already are. Amen. Blessing 333. Something huge is waiting for you. A deeper shock shakes the truth free. My beloved child, what happened next was the moment everyone realized this conversation was much bigger than they imagined. Someone leaned closer and asked the question that even your destiny paused to listen to. Who exactly are you to them? The observer's reaction was quiet, controlled, but telling. Their eyes softened, their voice lowered, their shoulders relaxed, and they answered in a way that made every person in the room stare in disbelief. I'm someone who sees what they try to hide. Someone who understands them in ways they don't understand themselves. Someone who knows their worth even on days they doubt it. And then they added the line that changed everything. I've been watching their transformation, because their future is connected to mine. My beloved child, let that sink into your spirit. Someone who talks about your dressing doesn't just admire you. They are emotionally tied to your growth. They are spiritually connected to your rise. They are drawn not to your appearance but to the destiny written on you. Amen. Blessing 555. A revelation presses closer than ever before. My beloved child, the whispers surrounding your name are no longer whispers. They are turning into waves. Waves that are reaching people who were never meant to hear about you. Waves that are carrying your presence into rooms you've never stepped inside. Today, the moment you left, someone looked at your outfit and said with a strange mix of awe and certainty, "They're changing." Their dressing is not just improvement. It is transformation. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. But the part that shook everyone was not the compliment. It was the tone. It carried familiarity. It carried ownership. It carried something deeper than anyone expected. Someone finally asked the question that had been hanging in the air for days. Why do you talk about them like you know them better than they know themselves? And the observer, the one whose voice trembles only when truth becomes too powerful to contain, looked down for a moment as if gathering courage and then said something that changed the temperature of the entire room. Because they don't even know how beautiful and intentional their presence really is. My beloved child, imagine someone seeing beauty in you on days when you forget you have any. Imagine someone reading your soul through your clothing. Imagine someone admiring the confidence you don't realize you show. Amen. Blessing 222. Another dimension of truth unfolds. When they were asked again, what makes their dressing so special to you? The observer gave an answer no one saw coming. Their voice softened, but their words were sharp with honesty because their dressing reflects their inner world. And their inner world is extraordinary, someone gasped quietly. Someone else whispered, "What do you mean extraordinary?" And the observer replied, "Their outfits carry the story of someone who is rising, someone whose spirit refuses to dim even when life tries to push them down." My beloved child, these were not casual words. They were spoken by someone who understands energy more than appearances. They weren't noticing your clothes. They were noticing your glow, your shift, your elevation. Someone in the room tried to laugh it off, saying, "You're exaggerating." They probably don't even think that deeply when they get dressed. But the observer didn't agree, not even slightly. They looked up with eyes that held truth and said, "No." Their soul chooses before their hands do. And everyone in the room felt their heart jump because they knew this wasn't admiration. It was connection. It was recognition. It was attachment. Amen. Blessing 333. Something huge is waiting for you. The final crack in the secret begins to appear, my beloved child. The atmosphere grew heavy as the observer shifted in their seat, knowing that their next words would expose a part of their heart they had been hiding. Someone pressed again. Who exactly are you to them? Why does their dressing affect you so deeply? The observer inhaled slowly. Their eyes softened like someone remembering a feeling they haven't admitted aloud. And then with a voice full of truth they could no longer hide, they spoke. Because when I look at the way they dress, I see the version of them they're becoming. And that version is the one I've been waiting for. The room went completely silent. No one breathed. No one blinked. Because this was not admiration. This was not observation. This was someone emotionally tied to your evolution. Someone whose destiny is brushing against yours. Someone who feels connected to the smallest details about you. Even your clothing. And then they added a final line that shook every person listening. Their dressing tells me they're stepping into a future where I'm meant to be. Amen. Blessing 444. Something huge is waiting for you. A deeper current pulls the truth to the surface. My beloved child, the person who has been talking about your dressing is no longer able to hide what they truly feel. Today, when your name slipped into the conversation again, something different happened. Their voice didn't just soften, it trembled. Someone asked casually, "You really notice every detail about the way they dress, don't you?" And instead of laughing it off, the observer looked away almost as if their heart had been exposed. They whispered, "I notice." Because they don't dress like someone who belongs to the life they're living. They dress like someone who's about to elevate into something bigger. The room went still. A realization spread across the faces of everyone there. This wasn't admiration. This was emotional involvement. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. Someone tried to challenge them, "Okay. But why does it matter to you? Why does their styling affect you this much?" The observer didn't deny it. They didn't dodge it. They didn't change the topic. Instead, they leaned back, closed their eyes for a moment, and spoke with a truth that nobody was prepared for. Because when they walk into a place, even without trying, they shift the atmosphere. Their clothing doesn't just suit them, it speaks for them. My beloved child, imagine someone seeing meaning in the things you overlook. Imagine someone recognizing your silent strength before you even feel it. The observer added, their dressing shows who they will become, not who they've been forced to be. And that was the first time anyone in that room understood that this person isn't merely watching you. They're invested in you, deeply. Silently, emotionally. Amen. Blessing 222. The truth tightens its grip around the conversation. Today, the moment someone mentioned a color you often wear, the observer smiled unconsciously as if that color itself reminded them of you. Someone said, "You're smiling. Why?" And for the first time, the observer didn't hide it. They answered, because their dressing tells a story. They choose colors like someone who's finally learning to love themselves again. My beloved child, these words weren't spoken lightly. Only someone who feels something for you notices your healing. Only someone emotionally involved can read the meaning behind your choices, colors you choose, styles you prefer. The way you present yourself, even when your heart feels heavy, another person in the room whispered. So, you've been paying attention to them for a long time. The observer didn't hesitate. Yes, they said quietly, longer than they know. Someone else pressed further, sensing the hidden connection. You talk about them like they're important to you. And that's when the observer said something that made every person fall silent. They are important to me more than you think. My beloved child, the tone, the depth, the emotion, it revealed something unmistakable. This isn't observation. This is attachment. This is someone whose heart responds to your presence before their mind admits it. Amen. Blessing 333. Something huge is waiting for you. A final crack of revelation begins to open. The conversation reached a point where nothing could be hidden anymore. Someone confronted the observer directly. Who are you to them? Why does everything about them matter to you so much? My beloved child, this was the moment the truth began to slip. The observer's breath faltered, their eyes softened, their voice dropped low, and they answered with a confession they had been holding inside for far too long. Because every time I see the way they dress, I see someone I don't want to lose. The room reacted instantly. Hearts skipped. Faces shifted. The weight of their words poured into the air like a revelation waiting to explode. Someone tried to speak, but the observer continued before anyone could interrupt. Their dressing reveals their journey, and I've silently walked beside that journey without them even knowing. My beloved child, understand what this truly means. Someone talks about you because they feel connected to your transformation. Someone notices your clothing because they notice you. Your evolution is not invisible to them. Your presence is not forgettable to them. Your impact is not accidental to them. They see you. They feel you. They're drawn to you. Their identity will no longer be able to hide behind shadows. The revelation you've been waiting for. The person behind the whispers. The truth behind the connection will begin to reveal itself. Amen. Blessing 444. The moment of exposure begins. My beloved child, today the conversation about you crossed a line. A line after which nothing can stay hidden anymore. The person talking about your dressing wasn't just noticing you. They were revealing themselves without meaning to. When your name came up again, someone joked, "You always talk about their outfits like you're decoding a message." But instead of denying it, the observer's eyes softened and they replied quietly, because their dressing is a message. And I'm the one who's been learning to read it. Every head turned. Every heartbeat paused. Someone whispered, "Read it." What message? And the observer, unable to stop the truth from slipping out, said, "Their dressing shows what they're becoming, and I've been watching that change with more emotion than I should admit." My beloved child, these were not accidental words. These were confessions dressed as explanations. Something huge is waiting for you. Amen. Blessing 111. Subscribe our channel for daily prayer prophetic.